What
Please.
is your review going to be today?
My review is going to be on the Oura Ring. I know we alluded to it, so we can go in more deeply.
Yeah. So I've been wearing an Oura Ring for about 5 years, and I like the way you can now view your Oura Ring stats by year. Tell people what you love about it. Very briefly go over what it is, and yeah, anything else you feel is relevant, and I'll chip in with my thoughts.
Please, yes. Okay, so one, I believe that if we are tracking this area of our health, our sleep, we need, I believe, to have some data around what are we even talking about? Because the average person just is not very good, myself include any of us, or we're just not very good at being able to share about our sleep during a time when we're in an altered state. How are we going to know? So as we actually gather some data, there could be different callouts of, well, it's not akin to an in-lab readout. And that may be true. There's certain shortcomings for lots of different trackers that are looking at sleep. But I will say they keep getting better and better. And one of the reasons that I'm pointing to Oura Ring in particular is just recently what they're able to point to is 1,500 days as compared to a sleep lab. That's why they're able to kind of say that it's like having a sleep lab on your finger, because they fared quite well as compared to a sleep lab.
Wow.
And by the way, a sleep lab still has a lot of questions as far as, or discrepancy as far as some of the readouts. And so when we talk about sleep stage classifications, deep sleep, REM, et cetera, often the agreement on what stage people are in can still be within around the 80s, like mid 80s, as far as agreement there. So it's not even if it's like, batting 100 in a sleep lab, it's already kind of questionable as far as some of the thoughts on that. And so as compared to an Oura Ring, it was logging about 79% accuracy for the sleep stage classification. So that's not that different from, 83, 85% agreement. So that's one thing about the Oura Ring. Another thing is, if we're arguing this kind of this vital sign, then getting this information, not just about what time did you go to sleep, what time did you wake up, which are actually really important as well. So that's a big deal. And that's where they shine a bit more as far as the accuracy. It tends to be more in like around the low 90s as far as knowing, like, are you asleep or are you awake? Usually pretty solid. And so understanding that part, but then also some of the things that you were speaking to, like these readiness indicators. So temperature, our HRV, our heart rate, our respiratory rate, how many breaths you're taking per minute while you're sleeping, blood oxygen. All of these things can just give us a bit more of a sense of our nervous system and how our nervous system is behaving. So I found this to be really, really helpful too for people that can trend, say, anxious or depressed, or just, most of us have different periods of time where our moods and states might be changing. So to have that external place to look and say, oh, wow, I didn't even realize I'm headed towards burnout, like until I see some of these numbers, heart rate's going up, HRV's going down. Maybe it's time for me to kind of, put the laptop down or whatever. And so some of these things can really help us with the management of our health and well-being. The other reason I really like this is the amount of times that by looking at these readouts, I've been able to unequivocally say, all right, we have enough signs here, because it's not diagnostic, it's a consumer grade piece of tech, but it can give us enough signs or red flags that we should get tested for some sort of sleep disorder. And we've been able to then have many individuals come out realizing, oh, wow, I didn't realize I had narcolepsy. I didn't realize I had sleep apnea. I didn't realize I had restless leg. I didn't realize I had periodic limb movement disorder. I mean, the amount of things that can come out as a result that you might not have had the oomph to go get tested for without seeing these numbers day in, day out. So those are just some reasons. Additionally, for women of menstruating age, this can be a really helpful kind of partner in crime to have to track your cycle, because then we can get a sense of really some marked changes that might be at play and some hormonal shifts. So you can use this as kind of a really fantastic guide in that process, as well as someone who might travel frequently. You can notice just the massive difference that various environments can have on your sleep. I mean, I could keep going, but these are some of the reasons why I really like this as a way to have a gauge on your health. And the last thing I'll say on that point is I've had people every age tracking with their Oura Ring. I think one of my oldest participants was in their early 90s wearing an Oura Ring and loving their Oura Ring. But I had one individual that I think it was around I think 73 or so, and he loved this thing. And so one of the things that he started noticing after tracking for years was then his HRV started markedly dipping. And he'd go to the doctors, they'd say, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. But because that it was so obvious that he kept at it until he did find a doctor who discovered he had cancer. And with that, then he was able to treat that with velocity. And they were all kind of acknowledging him for being so quick to discovering this because of that velocity, then he is now doing great. He's not dealing with cancer anymore. It's just an anecdotal story, but I'm pointing to the fact that it can help you really get at the helm of your health.
Yeah. Wow. How annoying is it though when you sleep great and you wake up in the morning and your Oura Ring has run out of battery?
Oh, totally. I know. Yeah. And there are, there's pluses and minuses to all these things. Oura Ring has had a bit of a bug, I would say, where some of their different generations have had battery issues. So for some people, they have sent those out, and sometimes it will be covered, sometimes not. But so often, hopefully, if you are someone listening and your battery is dying like really quickly, you might be able to get that replaced. I'm not a spokesperson for Oprah. Oh my God, for Oura Ring.
That's funny you say that because they just messaged me the other day. I messaged them about something else, and they said, "Oh, by the way, it looks like your battery isn't very good. We'll send you a new one." So they sent me a new one in the post.
Exactly.
Great.
Yes,
yeah, I didn't ask for it, but they sent me one. So.
Oh, I'm so happy because you shouldn't have to deal with it, because that's one of the things that's really great about it actually is because I have other clients that use, or I've had other people come my way that were using Apple Watch or certain other trackers, and they were having to charge it so frequently, and it became, they'd have a lot of holes in their data because it was just, hard to get down. Whereas this should be lasting quite a few days in between each charge.
Yeah. Molly, great to chat. I love what you do. I love following you on Instagram. Where can people find you, all your posts, and also potentially enroll in one of your studies to boost their Oura Ring stats from 66 to 87% sleep score?
Amazing. Well, one, the feeling is mutual. I love the work that you're putting out. So great to be connected with you. I know we're going to have you on our podcast too, to go in and even more deeply on your areas of expertise. So cannot wait. And thank you so much for having me on here. It's truly my mission on the planet to help support people with their sleep. I know I didn't really share my story exactly, but I went through really one of the lowest points in my life. This big rock bottom period was around sleep. And so in that process, felt so hopeless, helpless, embarrassed, ashamed, all kinds of things of like, well, why? What do I do? But also fearful that I was going to be down a path of sleeping pills or pharmaceuticals and all kinds of things. And so I truly believe that we have this opportunity to actually, when you are struggling with your sleep, if you are struggling with your sleep or however you relate to it, that it can serve as a huge shift and a transformation if we start to prioritize this. Really, I believe above all else, if you start here from such a strong foundation, then a lot of these other things can kind of just like work, like we were talking about, like that foundation piece. So to that point, my commitment is to get out a lot of information and a lot of free information for people. So we do have a weekly newsletter. It's been going out for almost 6 years, every single Monday, never missed a Monday, called Sleep Obsessions. Would love to have you on there. And that's at sleepisaskill.com. We also have our weekly podcast with lots of great experts, and you will be one of those on there. So anyone listening, please check out that. We'll be doing that shortly. And then beyond that too, and yes, we're trying to get out more information on social and all those fun things. So beyond, I'm definitely passionate about different ways we can work individually with people or as a group. So our Optimize Your Sleep program, 8-week long live program, you are wearing an Oura Ring or newly Whoop if you so choose, throughout those 8 weeks. And the commitment is that you come in with a set of stats in the beginning and leave with a whole other set of stats by the end. Let's go. Let's gamify this. and then have really tools that you're continuing to build and develop and gain mastery on, like any skill, just keep improving over time thereafter. And then we also have one-on-ones as well if people would really like more bespoke experience.
That's a really cool idea. And I don't know that anyone else is doing that. So that's great. Well done.
And because you're saying that you've experienced too, like I'm sure there's a collection of behaviors that you've shifted simply by beginning to focus on this area, the old cliche, like what gets measured gets managed, or however you want to look at it, but just the process of looking at a particular area. And I can't think of a more impactful, important area to begin with to really develop.
Molly, lovely to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. The feeling is mutual.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching live. And this will be on the podcast very soon. See you later. Bye.